Hey guys, and welcome to City Skylines. It's something a bit different from me. I've always wanted to get around to recording this. It's something that I play in my own time a lot. But I thought, hey, I really like watching other people who record it, so why don't I give it a go and see what everybody thinks of it, and we'll just see how it goes on the channel. It's one of my favourite games to play in my own time, so what I've done is, for those of you who don't play the game very often, is you're building an entire city from the ground up. I tend to build it with towns, and I also play with a few mods, so if you are familiar with the game, I play with the traffic manager, which deals with my traffic and allows me to do little tiny things, but I'll cover that as we get into it. If you're curious and you're really familiar with the game, I've made this map myself. I whipped it together quickly so that we can all start where we are now. I've played for a bit. I don't use infinite money. It just looks like I've got a lot because I've left it running for like a few hours to make sure that when we did start doing this episode, it wouldn't just be us sat watching me building up funds, because nobody wants that. So I've started a village. We haven't actually unlocked everything yet. We're not onto buses and stuff, so yeah, we're still on Boomtown, so we literally were just about to get all the buses and some of the more important things, but we've gotten to decorating. This is, I haven't really named anything yet. The place is called Sofaopolis, which is another thing that I think you guys can help me name. This is our first sort of housing area, which is where I've put down, it's got a school, it's got a nice English high school at this end, in a really old building, which is really cool. I do like all these old buildings and things because they're much nicer to then walk up to and walk around. I do like decorating things. That's something you'll see a lot of. I would have thought in this series is me going around doing all the tiny details. God, look. See, I love walking around in this because it all looks so English. Memorial pool. Everyone likes memorial pools. Oh, it's concrete though. It's not the best swimming pool, is it? It's concrete. That's a bit weird. That's very unusual. We'll leave that. We'll replace that with something that works in a minute. But away from Garnet, actually, what's it even called? Garnet Hills? Oh god, yeah, we'll have to change that. That doesn't sound good at all. Trenton on Sea. There we go. Like on my to-do list for this episode, I really want to get a new housing estate sorted, probably up here where it feels natural between the industrial estate where we've got all the industry going and the main town, because I like spreading out. I've got a different mod that means we can just go anywhere. We don't have to worry about slowly spreading out, which really annoys me. So I'm excited. It should be a very exciting time. I've got all the terrible things turned on, so we could have earthquakes. Tsunamis are awful, and wipe out saves, so they may happen. I'll keep an eye out when we can unlock all of the sort of emergency services, as it were, that can protect us from that sort of thing, so we can get some, there they are, tsunami warning buoy, or buoys. I call them a buoy, but they are meant to be buoys. It's a weird spelling. We could put those right out to sea, and then if we do get some sort of tsunami, chances are we'll at least be able to react and evacuate people, because if you can evacuate the people out, then when they come back they'll rebuild everything really quickly. So that's something to work on. The second thing that we've got is this beach area, which I'm quite happy with at the moment, but I think it could use a lot of improvement. So it'd be nice to have a sort of fairground. I might try and do some reclaimed land here, sort of sticking out, sort of miniature pier, and we'll put a fair on there, put Chirpy Land in. It's always got to be Chirpy Land because it comes up on signs and things around the place. I do need to do that housing estate really quite soon because everyone's kicking off about educated workers. Though, talking of, I might as well go through some of my mods. I have quite a few, so if you're curious, here's all of them. However, the most important ones that I use or think are really important to me personally are the traffic manager, which means that I can make all of the vehicles behave better so that they act more like real cars. They don't really despawn. The AI is a lot better. They have realistic parking. It changes how they behave, and they behave like they do in England, and they use proper English laws. I really like that. I've got a real-time mod, which is probably my favourite mod. That's the one that I could not do without. This makes everything ultra realistic, so citizens no longer just walk around and sort of unspawn. They get up at a set time, they go to work, there's big rush hours as they come home. It also stops people from building at night, because you don't have building at night. Construction work stops at a certain time. It's really slowed down as well, so if we stand next to a building you can actually watch it being built. Obviously it's a weird animation, but it's still nice to do. People can have work shifts and lunch times where everyone goes out during the day. It's actually crazy, but a lot of this we'll get into as the episodes sort of go on. And then obviously the UK roads and buildings, which I love, because I can walk down the high street and recognise the odd thing, which is just amazing to me, because lots of games are not set in the UK, so it's nice to come across the odd one that is. Yeah, you may have noticed it. Like I say, everyone's walking and driving very slowly compared to the normal game, and that's because it's on real-time traffic. So unlike the vanilla game, when there's like a fire and the ambulance, like you're going to send an ambulance to the fire, if you've got fire and a fire engine is sent out and dispatched to the incident, it gets there really quickly, because it can just sort of cheat the law and it can do what it wants. Now that's not the case, so it takes ages. It has to drive at normal driving speeds. Obviously it can go a bit faster because it's a fire engine, they're allowed to break the rules a little bit, but within the law, so it's much slower, which makes fires much harder to respond to, and the whole game is very, very difficult this way. But I've been playing it for a few years and I got a little bit dulled with the challenge. So anywho, let's dig on with our first little thing that we've got to deal with, which is doing some damn housing so these people will stop complaining. Now I really like the look of going up here. Up here looks really nice, but it's very hilly, which doesn't necessarily bode well for a housing estate. If I was building a housing development, I probably wouldn't go there. Up here is quite flat and it's got a good connection between the two. The only problem is very, very pink on this mod, which makes all the world around me very UK-like. So the water is sort of a bit more like the UK. Very nice beaches that are actual sand. I like all of that, but it does make the ground unbelievably neon pink. So it just kind of encourages me to not use terrible industries that pollute the world around us. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It encourages me to do better, but I think a housing estate here, I think, would be perfect though. I think that would work really nicely. So we'll get some bigger roads and work our way down. We'll go for the one with, we'll go for what's obviously, again, more mods, I know, all UK roads all over the place, which I really like. It does mean that from far away, you can't really see the textures on the road, but that doesn't really bother me, because when I'm walking around on foot, you can see them really well, and it's got all these little details you get in the UK, like these little cat's eyes, which I'm sure you get around the world, but we have them everywhere. Like every road, everywhere has them, and I find that something that is really nice that someone went to all the bother and detail of putting them in, so I like having them. So we'll go for a nice posh area anyway, so we'll get some trees down the centre. I like to try and follow the landscape as much as I can. I've got the idea of I'll use this path as a barrier basically, because that will stop us from getting too near this toxic sludge, which we want to avoid. So we'll try and stay in this square, which is why I like watching other YouTubers that play this, because they manage to pull off the look of real cities, but they don't manage to do it without using infinite money and things, which I don't like. I really feel like it's possible to do within the game, so do let me know what you think of this so far. We're going to need lots of people in the comments giving me advice and things you want me to do and stuff you want me to add to this, because it's very open to interpretation. We can put almost anything anywhere. Just pause the game quickly. I've just made all of that into housing. They've got power because over here we've got the UK power lines, which are really big. We really do. Our power lines are massive, and that leads over to between where the power is being made and the main town. So that's not a problem. That'll get power from there. But water, I don't think they've got water. No, they don't. They don't have water. Let's give them water and put in some pipes. The pipes, the pipes. Water. Okay, so they're now all fed and watered, or at least they've got electricity, so they can microwave, which is as good as feeding. Oh, pardon me. Jesus. Sip of my tea. It's cold today in the UK in real life. Build! Build! There, look at that little country house propping out of nowhere. They're going to be very lonely. They should be able to be alright off of the fire and ambulance services from the other town. So we should be alright for now. Having to deal with much here other than prettyifying it and then going down to the beach and trying to sort out the park, which will cost a little bit of money and a fair bit of time. So I want to go and start on that now, but still, this area is going to spring up in the meantime, looking lovely and Hamlet-like. Okay then, so we've got quite a nice beach area here. I might name this something, because beaches normally have their own name. Or they do where I'm from. You've got like, quite near to where I live, we've got a thing called Hailing Island, and that's got a beach on it. And that's got like a little railway that goes along it, and it's got a little fairground on one side, all sort of built on concrete. So I'd kind of like to emulate something like that. Sort of small, reclaimed fairground that, you know, wasn't here to start with. I know we've got this sort of barrier area here, but I kind of want to leave this area clear. So I want to make something that looks a bit more industrial and is a bit nearer this central commercial area that's sort of cropping up slowly. So you put little bushes in and a few trees, nothing special, because without buses and some routes for things to sort of cluster around, people are just meandering on foot at the moment, so there's not too much planning to be done. Okay then, so we get a nice fenced stone quay. Where will this be? Okay, well we'll have it. I want to have it in line with that commercial bit, and then we can try and concrete the whole thing through. So it'd be nice to have it literally here, really. If I can try and put a few of these in, we can. What do you mean shoreline? That is definitely the sea. There we go. That's one. That'll do. This will take me a moment, but it should split it up, and then we can cheat the system. Aha, here we go. So we'll bring that into there. This will take me a moment. Time lapse. I see what I've done. Okay, right, okay. We're back on the game now, so this will only take me a minute. So we're back. But I was using the wrong one. There we go. Just fill all of this in, because it will need a bit of smoothing out in a minute. But for now, what matters is that it is all matching and all nicely filled in, because we cannot build on it until it is all nice and flat, which will take us a minute. But once it's all done, it's sorted. But the water physics in this game are ridiculous. God knows why they're so good. I'm not complaining, obviously, but it's crazy how the games that you never expect to have like the best in them do. Like, of all the games I thought would have a really good water physics, it was not a city builder, and it does. It has some of the best, most realistic water physics I've seen in a game, full stop, let alone just this. But anyway, we now have our reclaimed pier area, which we will cover in concrete in a minute. But for starters, we can put down our fairground. So we'll put it along there. That should be big enough, I'm thinking. I don't want to go too mental or too not mental, because I just want it to be a tiny, tiny theme park. I don't want it to be anything crazy. So we'll need a little tiny road that comes off of here. So if I can find a little one-way road that we can use to make... Actually, it'd be really nice to have a sort of car park here, I think. Have the fairground sort of all up there, and then at some point we can use a ferry and everything like that, and that would fit really nicely in this section here next to the park, which I want to keep. That would all block off quite well. So maybe I'll bring a proper road down and we'll put in a little parking thing first. Okay, so we'll put parking just across there, like that. Because again, don't want to go too mental or too big, because there's just no need. It's only a little fairground, or that's what I'm thinking in my head. That's what I'm picturing, so we'll put it along there. We can maybe put a walk along the seafront then that matches up with it. Bring the actual parking spaces over, which aren't quite level, it would seem, otherwise we'd be able to see them all. Shout out to Sam Bur's channel, who also does his thing is City Skylines. He's amazing. Obviously his are going to be infinitely better than mine, but shout out to him, because if he hadn't said if he hadn't really started playing it, I don't think I'd be doing this now. I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube at all, because he's one of those people that was just really inspirational at the time that I was beginning the channel, and made me sort of realise that it might be something that I'd be able to do. So I'm really just a quick shout out to him, because I'd feel bad if I didn't mention him, because if it wasn't for him, I certainly wouldn't be playing. I certainly wouldn't be playing this. I just deleted the path. That's one thing. I'm not very clever. Right, and now let's join that up with a little no parking road. Put that there. If we can get that round to there, that'd be perfect. Ah, yes, that is basically exactly what I wanted. Very nearly exactly what I wanted, because I wanted to square it off a little bit this way if I could. And then try and curve it in a bit, because that's more what you get with roundabouts. And then the entrance would be really slanted like this, so you sort of come in at a dodgy angle, but it leads down to the beach, so that's all good. We now have our little beach car park area. Now all we need is the fairground itself. And daylight at last. I almost thought it would never come. Maybe I really should prepare for that and just only build during the daytime. Yay, congratulations, you have earned park things. Right, we won't be using the fence from the farm park, the fairground though. We're going to be using the fence from the zoo, because I really like the zoo fence. It's got concrete at the bottom, which I think is really cool, and it's also got a sort of nice wooden zoom in and enhance, and it's also got a nice wooden part at the top, which makes me think of like those sort of slightly posher buildings where they put in concrete and then they try to make it look a bit nicer, and that reminds me of so many terrible theme parks that are just concrete blocks in reality, but they think they can cover it up with a bit of nice wood, and I think that just matches us perfectly. We'll bring some of these over because I want them to line up better with the very edge. They wouldn't have bought a bit of it. It would have been a long time ago in like the 50s and 60s that they'd have started this, and they'd have built it and bought all the land, and then they'd have built on the entire thing. And maybe at some point during its time period they'd have sold off the end, and that's where you'd end up with like a park or some little restaurants or something like that behind it. So we'll see if we can put something like that in while we're up here. There we go, that's better. So now they can walk up and they can have a nice view and do whatever's going on at the end, while the fairground can operate merrily. We'll pause time so we stay in daylight while we've got the cash as well, because I don't want to start losing money once we've done this, because people won't turn up very quickly. It'll take them quite a while to make their way down. Oh no! Oh, thank God, it went back to normal. I did lose our path, but that's something that I can repair. The other thing was very dodgy. Little fairground, but it would have a couple of tiny little paths coming off, I feel. Like that, hopefully. There we go, so that's about right. I mean, they're not in line, which is bad. Bad me. There we go, and put that one there and move that complex to match it. We'll move the building to match the curve, not the other way around. There we go. See, that's quite nice for shopping and things on the way out. Now they actually need some rides. Got an amusement cafe, and I think that's almost all we've got at the moment. It doesn't look like there's anything unlocked. Oh wait, what's this? Carousel. See, the carousel would be here. I feel like that would be right at the opening, because that would have been the first thing that was built. The carousel. That's literally like original. We're talking about original park buildings there. So maybe I will put the carousel near the opening and put this sort of plaza elsewhere. Okay, so put the carousel here. Chunk, and you can go at a weird angle over here, and we'll fill this area in later. There we go. Sorted. Well, that's a little bit janky having this bit at a weird angle. I'm not too happy about that. In fact, I'm so unhappy about it, I'm going to deal with it right now. At least I know that it will reconnect nice and easily, even though it's further away, which doesn't really make any sense because you'd have filled out that way. This bit will be empty, this bit will be packed, but that'll do for now. Now let's fill some of it in with concrete, because there'd be a hell of a lot of concrete here, in my opinion. For some reason that's a go-to material, and rightly so. It's actually a very nice material. I like buildings made of concrete, to be fair. I'm probably gonna mention that a lot in this series as a whole, so I might as well get that off my chest now. But big concrete buildings are something I think are really cool, maybe just because they're quite sci-fi, maybe slightly dystopian, which is something I've always personally just quite liked. But at the other hand, maybe it's just because it's cheap and easy and affordable. But it's very it's not friendly for the environment at all. So maybe I'll try to be better at that. You know, a new city. It's meant to be a beacon for all of modern civilization. There we go. See, now that's much better. See, now that's all got some concrete going on. We'll put on some trees. Just dot those around the edge a little bit, because those are only the small ones. Small ones have grown because they haven't been there for very long. Then we have the bigger trees near the centre. That's not a bigger tree. Some of them are, I guess. Some of them are bigger trees. It's a bit random because each one sort of randomly generates its size. But there we go. That's a bit better. Put a few of these nearer the beginning. Quite like to have one in there, actually. It'd be quite cool to have a sort of little park or a square in there. Where did that one end up? There we go, just like that. And then I can put a couple of trees in there, and it just makes it look a bit more lived in, like it's been planned to be this way, which I think is really nice. You don't want it to look like it's just sprung up overnight, which is what happens if you leave it all blank. Things just look like they've been there for a matter of minutes. But by just adding a bit of foliage and a bit of life, it really does suddenly all spring together. See, that's quite nice, I think. I don't know if it's worth having this section round the back filled in, because there's not really any point, because you can't go there. But at the same time, we might do something with that later. But it's a nice little park area. I think that's good. Small amusement park. No. Chirpy Land. Is it Chirpy Land? No, it's only 1p. 1p in Chirpy Land, not 2p. So that's entirely my fault. Hey, this is quite nice though. Let's press play on the world and actually have it all spring to life. Hey, see, that's cool. Got balloons, got toilets. Toilets are always good. Amusements, got the two little curves where people can play on the arcade machines, spend all their wonderful coin, and then just a random seating area at the end. But it is actually quite nice here now that we are actually here. I like it. It's surrounded by trees. It's kind of quiet because it's away from the main park. And oh my god, it's a mascot. Hey dude, that's amazing. I've never seen those before. I mean, you don't look great, but to be fair, I'm using a mod to walk around. We're not supposed to walk around. The fact that the details here at all is amazing. Okay, well, we've got Chirpy Land together. Oh no, we don't. Oh no, we don't. There's no water. Do they have power? They just managed to scrape power from the land they have. Okay, well they've got somewhere that they can quite happily sit and go for a bit of food or whatever. Oh, it's raining. Why can't we ever have nice things? It's always raining in England. I suppose that's one of the telltale signs that we're using one of our maps. Okay, we'll turn back to concrete here. And join that over, because then these people can walk straight through some of the bigger trees near the path, because they've been there for longer. I like those sorts of details, sort of thinking about how long things will have been there for, whether or not people will have used them a lot or not used them much. Because if things have been there for a very long time, I try to make them really overgrown and slightly decrepit. Even if you're trying to make them look really nice, really you want a bit of foliage around it, because it just would have been there, and whoever built it would have gone, we should really protect some of these trees, and we should probably not cut everything down, because that's how things get done in the real world. And there we go, we've got Chirpy Land all out the way now. I think that looks really good myself. I mean, I'm the person, I don't really get an opinion, but I think that looks quite smart. I think we've done a really nice job of getting Chirpy Land together. Unless you've got a better name for it, and then we'll name it that. But at the moment, it's called Chirpy Land. And I'm going to stick with it, because then we can put all the nice bus routes in and join all this area up, and that'll be a really nice thing to have. Although, I think we can do fireworks. Yeah, into policies. We don't want a tenner, not charging a tenner, a fiver to get in. Celebrate! So in the evening they'll have fireworks. We want to recycle the garbage and have even more fun. It's also the main park, because we don't have any others. We've only got one, so we want everyone to come here. See, check that out. Chirpy Land has fireworks. See, that's so cool. I mean, it's raining, so you probably wouldn't get fireworks, but still, it's a very cool picture. Chirpy Land's coming along wonderfully. That's a bit steep. I might have to put some concrete in there and try and block it all off a little bit. Try and neaten that up. Maybe not now. It's something we'll do when we come back. How's the estate doing? Oh no, crime is a problem. Right, okay then. So where's the nearest police station? Right down there. How many police come out of a police station? We could up the budget. Got 5 police cars, which isn't great. We could probably do better than that. These are all going to be very, very low. They, again, because of the amount that it costs to have enough people on the streets in any of these, you have to really balance that in the mods that I've got on, because of the time it takes for people to get there. A lot of times things have burnt down before they'll arrive. So you really have to make sure that things don't burn down in the first place. Upping these is a dangerous, dangerous world. Delicate balance we are in. Trenton-on-Sea and Pleasant Hills. Is that what we called the damn beach? That's not very good. Be Trenton Beach. Trenton Beach. There we go. That's perfect. There we go. So we've got Trenton Beach, which is actually coming along quite nicely. I mean, admittedly, I didn't really do much to the beach. We just kind of added a huge theme park to the side, but that's something we'll do in a bit. We'll definitely add a few trees on there, maybe a few benches, nice path along the very seafront, maybe a dog park. In the meantime, we need to kind of wait and see what's going on over here and see if it'll sort itself out, because it's not looking that great. People really do want shops as well. We haven't got any over here. We've got a nice big sort of shopping high street down the centre, which intersects with our square area. We don't have much going on over here, and it would probably be a good idea to have some. We've got a nice double main road here, so we'll go in there. I do normally use the block feature, the drag tool, because you've got this one, which you can use like a circle, and that just cuts a circle out. And then you've got this one, which is like a drag square, which I also use very often. But when you're trying to do things which are attached only to one road, it's really handy to just go around and click them like that and make sure they're definitely where they should be. Maybe we could extend our high street just around this corner. That way it's not going to bring too much traffic in, because people can always enter and exit through here, which is probably going to be the best way to do it. And we've got that little dead end, so it's probably going to be a good place to put these little shops on that dead end. So we can make this more of a shopping block than a shopping road, which would be quite nice actually. Maybe put in a little park there. Let's try and liven it up, keep people active. Oh my god, there's traffic. Traffic jam. quickly sort out my patterning here, because it looks like I didn't actually finish this when I was doing it. So it's either that they're all getting confused or that they don't actually know what they're doing yet. Either could be true at this point. There we go. We don't want you to all be waiting. That's fine. You don't have to wait. You should all be able to overtake each other. That's also fine. There we go. That should smooth the whole system up now. Now that should be a real roundabout again. Fast forward it a bit and see if that passes through the traffic. There we go. There's the person at the back there. It is moving through. What's the time in game? It is like nearly 11 o'clock at night, and these are the people from rush hour. So these are some furious people trying to get home from work. But the traffic will slowly filter through now, which is excellent. It's also probably the reason that these people weren't getting what they were looking for, which is, you know, decent services. People weren't able to get here. There was a traffic jam stopping the police and stopping anyone from getting through. Oh dear. Their toiletries have become a problem. Let's have a look and see about that. Turn up the budgets. It could be power or electricity, but they both need to come up a little bit anyway. There we go. Back on track. It says that there's a lot of problems with police here, but I don't believe that, if I'm honest. I've got to be honest. It's probably going to sort itself out fairly soon. I'm almost tempted to just watch and wait for a second. See if a policeman turns up, because now the traffic jam's gone, I think it'll be fine. There goes the policeman now. See, actually, we will do that, because I haven't shown you this yet, and it'd be quite nice to take a moment to browse the city. Oh dear. You! Domino's Pizza, you have been selected. Hey, there we go. Our quaint little part of Trenton-on-Sea. Down the high street, which is looking really nice. You see all the cat's eyes now in the road, glinting in the night time. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, she could have looked before she walked across the road. Some very bad traffic violations taking place. That's something we'll have to get the police onto. I can see the walk bridge up ahead. And then on our left, we'll have the fairground. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Probably not, unless whoever's ordered pizza just happens to be there. Police station on the left. I think that's the doctors and the hospital just there on the left as well. And then we'll... Oh, there goes a policeman now going the other way. Off to do his rounds. No, we're coming to a stop. Whoever ordered pizza was on the high street. In fact, we're probably just returning to sender. I bet that is the pizza place. Morning has broken. Industrial estate, because we're not very exciting, like I say. Round the corner from me is an industrial estate, and it is just called the industrial estate. So we'll just stick with that for now, and if anyone wants to name anything really interesting, and we can theme some places, because there's a really big hill over here, big mountain. Doesn't really look it, but it is really tall compared to everywhere else. This is as high as you can go on the map. It's just a very long way up from the lowest point to the tallest point, and it'd be nice to have like a cable car that goes all the way up here. We've got some rapids as well, which are quite smart. Nice waterfalls. We could maybe have a tiny village here. It goes quite a long way actually, this, so there's quite a lot of room to toy around with things. There's another beach up here, which I'm quite fond of. This part here is quite big and flat, so maybe we could extend around eventually. I think there's even an island to some extent. There's these parts over here and this island area, so we could always put a ferry across, maybe work on maybe an underground train or an above ground train that sort of hops across this island here, and we could do a big expansive thing like that. But for now, I think we're just going to deal with the industrial estate. I'll start extending that. There's not much room here for growth, as it were. We could add a big roundabout and bring it down, but if we bring it down, we're just encroaching on the living area, and I feel like there'd be no way in hell that would be allowed. So probably gonna have to try and bring it up this way a bit, but it goes off into a cliff. It's not easy pickings. Yeah, that might actually take a bit of thinking. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to deal with that, because I don't really want to build another industrial estate down the road. Oh my goodness, is that the poo? It is! The fairground's going to be a little bit nasty soon. This is something we're going to have to deal with probably in the next episode, because we've got a lot to think about. It'd be really cool to get any feedback from you guys on things you liked, things you didn't like, things you want me to change. We're going to start expanding. We'll move around the corner, maybe work on doing less of a town, more of a metropolis sort of thing over on this side, that we can start joining the smaller towns too. Or maybe we could stick with really small villages if that's something you like, and we can join them all together individually, try and neaten them all up and tidy them into these nice, perfect, succinct little areas. But it's all up to you really, so I'm really open to feedback. Really thank you everyone for coming. It's been really nice having you here. But yeah, I guess that wraps it up for this episode. Please hit the like button, it really helps us out on the channel. If you aren't already, consider becoming a subscriber. If you want to talk to me on Twitter, you can find me at the VR Sofa. On the next episode, we'll be working on trying to sort out and finish the fairground pier. We'll start working on the next industrial estate, and maybe start working on a new village somewhere. Hopefully the buses will unlock as well, so we start putting in bus lanes, start working on proper transport infrastructure, all that jazz, and I'm really excited to be here with you all to do that. So thanks for your suggestions. Let me know if you've got any names for anything, and I will see you in the next wonderful episode of City Skylines.